And welcome to Hannity, and we are just 1 week into Donald Trump's presidency, and he's already taking Washington, D.C. by storm, and that is tonight's opening monologue. President Trump, he's wasted very little time doing exactly what he said he would do once he got to Washington. That's pretty refreshing, right? A president makes promises and then actually keeps them. Now, while President Trump is quickly checking items off his agenda list, well, the mainstream media, they are obsessively focused on only three things: crowd size, voter fraud, and, of course, the Women's March with Madonna and Ashley Judd. Now, what the abusively biased press has missed this past week is the huge, massive political earthquake that has just hit our nation's capital. But true to form, the mainstream media, they're too busy pushing their alt-left radical agenda. Now, instead of acknowledging and recognizing, this for the first time in a very long time, that a politician is actually keeping his word and moving, in terms of Washington, at the speed of light, what are they doing? They're smearing. They're demeaning President Trump, and they seem to love calling him a liar every day. Now, take a look at just two of the headlines from the New York Times. Quote, Trump repeats the lie about popular vote in meeting with lawmakers, and Trump won't back down from his voting fraud lie. Here are the facts. But the Times isn't the only liberal outlet that is questioning the president's honesty. Imagine if I did this every night to President Obama. Watch this.
Our new president will flat out lie to us, to our faces, and even put it in writing, even when we can check for ourselves and see for ourselves that he is blatantly lying.
Are you using the word lie or falsehood? What are you using? Yeah.
Well, I mean, you have to use the word. You have to call it what it is.
All right, did any of these so-called journalists call President Obama a liar after he repeatedly misled Americans about keeping their doctor, keeping their plan, and paying less? Nope, of course not. Now, all this just shows you how completely out of touch the liberal, mainstream, alt-radical left media really is, and that's why you, the American people, do not trust them. A recent Gallup poll shows that just 32% of Americans say they have a great deal or a fair amount of trust in the media, which, by the way, is an all-time low for that poll. And some polls have it even lower. And I've been saying journalism is dead for years, and what we're seeing continues to prove it every day. For example, instead of focusing on major moves that the new administration is making, promises kept, well, the media would rather cover Hollywood liberals like washed-up Madonna, the pop star, and Ashley Judd losing their minds. We got to warn you, what we're about to show you is extremely graphic and vulgar, but predictable. Take a look.
To our detractors that insist that this march will never add up to anything, you. Yes, I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
I am a nasty woman. I'm not as nasty as a man who looks like he bathes in Cheeto dust. I am not as nasty as your own daughter being your favorite sex symbol. Like your wet dreams infused with your own genes. We are here to be nasty. I'm nasty, like my blood stains on my bed sheets.
Wow. Now, the media, they'd rather focus on that incoherent nonsense from elite Hollywood liberals and washed-up musicians than the fact that President Trump, well, he's been working nonstop to fix the mess that Barack Obama left behind. Now, in addition to addressing border security, immigration, regulation, Obamacare, the federal workforce, spending, pipelines, confirming the cabinet, and free trade, well, the president also announced an executive action to keep America safe when it comes to taking in refugees. In other words, extreme vetting. Take a look.
I'm establishing new vetting measures to keep radical Islamic terrorists out of the United States of America. We don't want them here. We want to ensure that we are not admitting into our country the very threats our soldiers are fighting overseas. We only want to admit those into our country who will support our country and love deeply our people.
Now, the president, he also hosted one of our closest allies at the White House. Here he is with British Prime Minister Theresa May. Take a look.
I think Brexit's going to be a wonderful thing for your country. I think when it irons out, you're going to have your own identity, and you're going to have the people that you want in your country, and you're going to be able to make free trade deals without having somebody watching you and what you're doing.
Now, President Trump is also set to talk this weekend with Russian President Vladimir Putin and German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Now, we also can't forget, and what the media is ignoring, is the fact that President Trump is doing all of that while also trying to fix the broken economy. He's been meeting with all kinds of business leaders, manufacturers, union leaders, manufacturers of cars, all to create jobs. Now, this kind of immediate action is why the night before the election, in my closing argument, I explained to you, my audience, why I thought voting for Trump was a good idea. You may remember this, the night before Election Day. This is a choice election. When it comes to the economy, it's Trump who will cut taxes. Hillary will raise taxes. Energy, it's about energy independence, the lifeblood of our economy, or dependence, and that would be a disaster. Obamacare, repeal it, replace it, or keep it and double down on it. I don't think that's a good idea. When it comes to the Supreme Court, hang on one second. This will impact this country for generations. Donald Trump wants originalists. Hillary wants activists, liberal, acorn, Alinskyite sitting on the court legislating from the bench. Fighting Islam, radical Islam. Do you want a commander-in-chief who's not afraid to call out our enemy for what they are and who they are? Refugees, do you want people to be extremely vetted to keep you safe or not? When it comes to the military, should we rebuild it or allow our military to continue its decline like Clinton will take us? What about America's role in the world? Do you want us to be first or not? You okay with America's decline? Educating our kids? Should we be, if we're paying the most money per capita, shouldn't we have the best test scores? Or we're like 18, 22, and 25, and we spend more money than any other industrialized country. Now, in my mind, tomorrow is an important day. The answer couldn't be more clear. He's working on 95% of those items, and it's only week one.